Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I am a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on May 13th, 2025 at approximately 9 p.m. PST. Now, I've made it my life's journey to remind people that working together we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. I bill myself as a spiritual guide because the tools I offer are the exact same tools I personally use in my day-to-day life. Now I'm going again. And the philosophy of life I talk about are the exact same philosophies I use to guide virtually every decision I make. With this in mind, I know these tools will work for you because they continue working for me and literally have worked for thousands of other people with varying degrees of success depending on their own personal efforts. Now, before we get into things, I just want to take a moment out to say thanks so much to Storm for keeping the electronic side of this working, technological side of this whole thing working, as well as keeping problem children to a minimum. And rest assured, even if somebody causes a problem on one day, as long as they are not causing a problem on the next time they're in, things will be fine. They'll be able to stay put. It's when it becomes a repeat offender. And rest assured, if you're just coming in, Storm will know if you've been here before, regardless of what name you're using. And both he and LA Moon, who is quite often in the chat room, she's the one that keeps the communication lines, keeps the conversation going. Okay, when it starts to stall. She also keeps very close eyes on what my health is doing. So between the two of them, we don't have a whole lot of problems here. Now, I will tell you, I am quite open to adjusting things because I'm looking at the numbers, and numbers are only a bare indicator. But the fact that they're slipping says I'm not hitting what people are looking for. Any suggestions will absolutely be appreciated. LA, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Hopefully things are going reasonably well on your end. And Kira, LA says hello. And there we go. And we have a hi back there, LA. Now, the nice little part about this. Today we're going to take a look at your career. Now, the first thing we got to realize is running a house is, in my opinion, one of the most important careers anybody can come up with. Okay, and when you take a look at that, okay, if you realize that the byproduct of taking care of a house is raising munchkins to be successful participants in society, contributing people. Okay, if you're doing that as a career, quit letting other people sell you short, because I'll tell you, it's the most important one out there that I'm aware of. Because let's face it, without people, we don't have a whole lot of society. Now, one of the first things you look at in your career, ask yourself this. When you get up in the morning, do you look forward to going to work on your career? Okay, are you content with what you're looking at? If the answer is yes, then absolutely stick with it. Now, there are a couple of provisos there. Whether you're happy with your career or not, if you cannot make ends meet, you're going to have to do something about it. Okay, but the first rule of thumb when you're looking at your career, are you enjoying it? Now, I finally got around to quantifying mine. My third career is that of an author. Okay, now, I would love it if it were making enough money to live on. Right now, it's not. However, with everything else coming in, I'm doing not bad. But ask yourself this. When you think about your career, whether it's running a house, running a mom and pop grocery store, maybe you run a restaurant or a chain, or a franchise. Okay, all of these are equally important, as are the major industries, including, by the way, the religious faction and the political one. Literally speaking, it's all business. It's all a career. Now, nobody said you can't enjoy yourself while you're working your career. Matter of fact, I recommend you find a way that you can. Now, one of the interesting little situations that we got, okay, is so many people, not fun. So many people are taking a look at the way their career is going, okay, and going, I've got to make more money. I've got to have more stuff coming in. We are taught that instant gratification is the important factor. But I will tell you, if you're not actually doing, if you're not actually enjoying it, you're going to spend a lot more money trying to convince yourself you are happy than you ever will if you're content. But take a look at the landmarks. Okay, number one, are you finding a reason not to go to work? Okay, is there something that's stopping you from desiring to get up and go to work? That's one of your first markers you look for. Okay, the biggest thing you got to remember is you're the only one that can tell you whether what you're doing is making you happy. But I will let you know, there's a lot of people that tell me, don't become an author, don't become a musician, don't become an actor, there's no money in it. There is money in it. The problem is marketing it. And there we go. First and foremost, we have Chad, another one of our moderators, has managed to get into the room. How you doing, Chad? Glad you could join us. We are really looking at changing the direction things are going. Not on this stream necessarily, but in people's lives. Now, Operation Shutdown, you are in with the gold. Welcome aboard. It's time to really take a look. Now, one of the things when I'm looking at career, and like I said, running a household is a career. But let me ask you this. When you take a look at your career, what is the primary thing that you're not content with about it? Yes, in case you hadn't noticed, lungs are not working as well as they should. Which I am not happy with. Okay. We gotta have a problem. But when you look at your career, you've got to make the decision. Is this something you are content with? If it is, if you're putting your heart into it, your biggest holdup may be the marketing to become visible. Okay, I ran into a tiny little pocket restaurant today that virtually nobody knows about. But talk about good food. Good food, good price, good portion, you get the idea. And it's only got, I think, like 8 tables. So it's a tiny little thing. But sometimes those are the best gems. Now, when you're taking a look at your world, okay, ask yourself, are you looking forward to getting up and going to work? Okay, now maybe your career is working for somebody, maybe you're running your own. Doesn't matter. Both are equally important in case you hadn't noticed. Intriguing. Yeah, we are having an interesting setup. Philip, how you doing? You are in with the silver. What you're looking at here is this. First rule of thumb. If you haven't figured out, if you're not content where you are, okay, there we go. Take a sheet of paper or a spreadsheet or whatever. Mark down the first 12 things that you enjoy. Doesn't matter what they are. Mark them down on a list. Stop at 12. What we're looking at is identifying whether or not your career is the one that's going to work for you. Now, when you get that first 12 done, you'll undoubtedly enjoy doing more than 12 things. But when you hit 12, stop. Immediately go back and check off the ones that help other people. Okay? Now, bear in mind, my drinking coffee may make me a little bit more tolerable for other people, but doesn't really help them. Okay? So, ask yourself, of these 12 things, do they help other people? Check those off. That's your short list. Now, you'll lose 2 or 3 without even blinking. But once you got that first list done, go back and immediately check off the ones that help enough other people to generate an income. That's the career you want to be in. Because you're in it because you enjoy it. You can make a go of it because it helps enough other people for you to actually generate an income. In that way, you become a much more productive member of society. And I don't know about you, but if you're living in society, it might be an idea to contribute to it. There we go. Operation Shutdown. Operation Shutdown goes, I've been more motivated since I become self-employed. Pinky Leader, how we doing? You are in with the bronze. Now, this is what you get as a shameless plug here, Operation. You say you're self-employed. What is it you're doing? And yes, I asked you that quite directly. Yeah. LA goes, I know what you mean. Keeping a roof overhead is real motivating. Yeah, no doubt. This is one of the biggest things I keep fighting with. Making sure I've got a roof over my head. Now, one of the things that I always look at when it comes to career. Where we go? There we go. Operation, I appreciate that. And that's one of those neat little tricks there. See, Operation Shutdown goes, I do graphic design and illustration. Boy, do I ever got a question for you, and I'm pretty black and white about things. Got a question, Operation. You do graphic design and illustration. Do you do rudimentary technical diagrams? Yeah, Pinky goes, health is the best thing you can offer anyone. Absolutely. Which is a shame that the medical system doesn't do that. Woo Rider, how you doing? You are in with honorable mention, I do believe. Let me double check that. I gotta go back to the top here just to make sure I got it right. We have Operation got the gold. Scroll down. Philip got the silver. And go down. Pinky got bronze. And Philip got silver, so Pinky got bronze. That puts Woo in with the honorable mention. Every now and again, I run into problems with that. Now, once you've got that idea in your mind of what makes you happy, what helps enough other people to generate an income, that's where you shift your focus to. Now, right now, oh, there you go. I appreciate that operation. I just figure, I figure when I spot something, I might just as well ask. The neat part about this is if you've got a career that you're content with, treat it as though it is the be all and end all. Okay, I've recently been revamping the whole layout of mine. For a lot of reasons. But one of the big things that we have to look at where it comes to your career does not have to match anybody else's. Okay, it doesn't have to be enjoyable by a majority of people. If you enjoy writing songs, get on it. Okay, if you enjoy writing it all, absolutely, I'll tell you, if people tell you you can't make money at it, take a look at Clive Barker, Stephen King, you get the idea. Okay, there's a lot of them out there. From my time when I was reading a lot, it would have been Piers Anthony and Anne McCaffrey. But bar none, it's still Tolkien. Now, whatever it is that you're striving to do, if you're content with it, stay on it. If you're not, keep your job, keep your career until you've got a replacement. Okay, whatever you do, don't up and quit your job because you don't like it. Okay, you got to remember, as LA put it, keeping a roof over your head has to be a critical priority. Because I don't know about you, but I really don't relish the thought of living on the street. Which brings me to the other path that I've got to go down. But take a look at your career. Now, no two careers are alike, in as much as no two people are identical. So when you're looking at the career, LA goes, I was told I couldn't make a living as an artist. We lived on my artwork for a couple of years. And that's the whole kicker. This is what I'm aiming at where it comes to writing. Only in case you haven't noticed, I haven't been doing adequate advertising. Gotta stop that now, don't I? That's a note to me, not to you. If you desire something to work, the best tools in the world, the best artifacts, the best creations are absolutely useless if nobody knows where they are. Okay. Now, that's just the reality of it, which means it boils down to being up to you to become visible. Now, where am I here? Can't read. I can read my own handwriting now, which is amazing. But I still have this neat little problem of not being able to see it if I'm wearing my glasses. One of the things that I always look at when somebody's talking about what their career is, or what do you want to be when you grow up? Now, a friend of mine, he was asked when he was in elementary school, what do you want to be when you grow up? And he looked right at the teacher. Now, bear in mind, he was only like 6 years old. He looks at his teacher and goes, I want to be an adult. Now, most people will make it to that. But what we got to look at is what are you going to do with it when you get there? Okay. When you're looking at a career, we're talking about how are you going to support yourself? Yeah, Philip goes, which street? I can't think of one. I'm trying to think of a fun street to live on. Okay. He goes, I can't think of one. Not Wall Street, though, because I'll probably fall off the wall in my sleep. Philip, that's terrible. The reality of it is when you're looking at your career, pick one that, number one, draws your heart and your emotion first. Okay. Find that piece first. Then figure out how you're going to utilize it to actually make an impact. Because I'll tell you right now, if what you're doing is not contributing to society, at least in some part, I will tell you it's going to run into snags. LA goes, I've changed my career several times over the years. I enjoyed every one of them. My favorite was teaching MMA and physical fitness. Now, the ironic part there, LA, I know full well, even in your current condition, your current situation, you could absolutely still teach it. You couldn't pull half of the maneuvers that you used to. Okay, from my standpoint, I'm looking at this. Yes, I've got a wide array of topics. Okay, but I've got to get much more focused. Pinky goes, having a job will always be will always just be having a family. Pinky, I cannot think of a better career, personally. I've got a family. I just literally gave my car over to my son, and he is now down on the coast, starting his life. Needless to say, I don't drive very far anymore. I gave the car away. And sorry, guys, I don't know how to hotwire them. But LA goes, I taught MMA to people on canes and in wheelchairs. Yeah, I could still teach it. And it's that kind of attitude. My brother used to teach. He used to teach rehab for quadriplegics. It was great with him because he'd go to teach. Try and get a paraplegic out of bed. Come on, you got to get up, right? The guy would complain. So what did my brother do? He'd hop in the guy's wheelchair, run off with it, and park it up against the wall and go, okay, when you're ready to actually be serious about it, come and get your wheelchair and find me. It worked like a charm. Now, in my case, I'm looking at writing. Okay. I have absolutely dropped the ball on some things, and I can come up with all the reasons in the world. But I am quite happy to let you know there are 60 races in Races of the World 2nd edition. Still 60. But we have now got a quarter of them enhanced. Okay. That's terrible. Anyway, we have already got the first 15 races enhanced. I'll be dropping another 5 into my fiance's lap tomorrow. Okay, which means we're pushing to get this finished. I'm done waiting for it. About half the ones in Races of the World are actually humanoid. Okay, Pinky is just asking that. Hey Blue, how we doing? Glad you could join us. About half of them are humanoid, maybe a little more. Okay, volume 2 gets a lot more of the odd ones. Okay, but what you'll find is that a whole lot of them, a whole lot of the races have very similar qualities. Humans have very similar qualities to a lot of the different races out there. But we are expanding things, including the technicals and the technical pocket, or the technical description of some of the weapons and some of the tools they've got. But I've had this idea for a very long time. I've got right now 8 books in print. this is where my career is going. Okay. And rest assured, as they come out, we found a couple of other ways of enhancing things. But find what catches your attention. Okay, that is the critical factor first. Because, there's no saying that goes, write what you know, or do what you got, what you know how to do. I always tell people, almost always, when you're looking at a new career, talk to somebody that has done it successfully. Okay, in that way you can avoid the pitfalls they ran into. You get to make them all your own, all your own new pitfalls, but at least it gives you a place to start. Okay, now one of the biggest factors with your own career. Okay, whether you happen to be working for somebody else or working for yourself, there's very little difference. Although I will tell you, it was brought to my attention one day that an entrepreneur is simply somebody willing to work 16 hours a day for themselves so they don't have to work 8 hours a day for somebody else. That's just ultimately what you're looking at. Okay, one of the other things I do take a look at where it comes to the career is once you know where you're heading, what is going to make you successful? Why do you desire to be successful? And what are you going to do with it? Okay, now, in my case, it's simple. I desire to be successful so I don't have to worry anymore about finances. But what am I going to do with it? Well, that's easy. I already know bottom line what I require. Okay, so the majority of the rest of it is going back out to the community. Okay, not because I figure I'm better than anybody. Philip, the short answer is yes. Okay, I will have to get back to you on because let me make a note of that. I know I came across one the other day, very similar. Well, need this. I know who Cthulhu is, by the way. It's just the pronunciation that I seem to get into arguments about. But yes, I know for an absolute certainty that there is. Okay. If you look at a broad scan on it, the Udina and the Udira are both very odd looking. They are certainly not humanoid. And by the way, neither is Cthulhu. Okay. Not in my books anyway. I mean, have you seen the face on that guy? Not a real great match. But, and I'm nothing special to look at, don't get me wrong. Understand, we call it humanoid. Okay. Other races call us in comparison to them. Okay. Now, the neat part about it, when we start looking at your career, okay, maybe there's something missing in it. Is there a shortfall in what you're finding with your career? If there is, now here's the kicker. If your career is working for somebody else and you feel you're not quite doing quite enough, talk to your boss. Let him know the problem, see if he can expand things for you. Okay. If you happen to be self-employed, okay, now I've taken races of the world, okay, currently I have, because of what I decided to do with it, okay, because of what I decided to do with it, what I've got now is races of the world, at least 3 volumes in the works. Plus, I'm doing a small booklet on each one of the races. Yes, this means I'm reutilizing some information. Absolutely, I am. But that is simply time management. The neat part about it, whatever career you're doing, Okay, when you take a look at it, if you enjoy serving coffee to people, okay, I will tell you, enjoying serving coffee to people is a way to make a living. You know, Tim Hortons up here in Canada, Starbucks down in the States. There's got to be other minor chains out there. I just don't know what they are. Okay, but when if you enjoy drinking coffee, won't help a lot of people. Serving it absolutely will help people. Running a kiosk where you run around and offer people coffee in the park. Again, it's a business that can make money. One thing to keep in mind, guys, all the money in the world is useless if you have to constantly work to pay your bills. This is the key factor that I look at. Is your income, is your career bringing you free time for you to enjoy life? Okay, for you to actually live? Or are you simply making enough to keep a roof over your head? By the way, the idea that, if you're not making enough, just cut back. Oh, there we go. LA goes, there's Dunkin' Donuts and Krispy Kreme are two more coffee shops. Okay, and you notice they all have the same thing. Well, no, they don't. Starbucks, I don't know if they've got anything edible. I know Tim Hortons does. You know, but the neat part about all this is one simple factor. Whatever you're doing, if it helps other people, get word out. Start, if you haven't done it already, it's time to look at marketing. Even if you're working for somebody else. Okay? When I was working for Dairy Queen when I was a lot younger, okay, I used to tell people about Dairy Queen all the time because of the fact it drew people in. And net result, thanks, Ellie, net result is we ended up with a lot of extra business. But the same thing applies. Oh, there we are. Philip is just bringing us up to speed. Tim Horton, I know Tim Horton was a hockey star in somewhere in Canada as well. I don't watch hockey, but Philip's just letting us know. Tim Horton, born January 12th, 1930, Cochrane, Ontario, Canada. Died February 21st, 1974, near St. Catharines, Ontario. Holy mackerel. That means the poor man was only 34 years old when he dropped. Okay. Now, one of the other really big things about your career, if you can stand up in the morning and look in the mirror and go, this is what I'm doing for a living. Okay. You're on the right track. If you have to conceal what you're doing, and rest assured, there's a lot of criminals out there that make their living doing criminal activity, but they've always got to keep their head down, watch over their shoulder. If you're doing something legal, especially if it's helping the community, then you've got something that's going to work for you. Now, the one thing I will tell you, and this is absolutely something that I'm already doing. Okay. And that is, you take a look at people and you go, okay, I've got the people that are doing well, that are helping people, talk about them as much as you can. The ones that are hurting people, the businesses out there that are treating people poorly, do not bother giving anybody their time. And here's why. Okay. If we concentrate on people that are helping. Oh, there we go. Yeah, Philip goes, I like local coffee shops with bookstores attached to support the local bookstores. Absolutely. You'll love this one. The restaurant that my fiance took me to today, Broken Anchor, shares a door with a wholesale seafood company. Talk about helping each other out. But the whole key to society growing is for individuals to help the neighbors. Okay. This also applies to you that are making your land, that have made your career that of a homemaker. And I'm telling you, in my opinion, there is no better career than sinking everything you can into raising kids to be productive. I'm lucky both mine turned out like gems. This does not mean we always see eye to eye. Although, in all fairness, I can't think of the last time we had an argument, which I'm not complaining about. But your career, okay, take a look at it. Number one, is it making you happy? Number two, are you actually looking forward to going to work? Okay. Number three, okay, third idea is whatever you're doing, do you find it hard to walk away from it? If you find it hard to walk away from it, this is actually a good sign. Although I will tell you from practical experience, it gets to be complicated. Okay, understand, I already identified 34 books, but we just jumped that by one heck of a crater. I'm just curious at this point. No, I'm not going to bother counting it right now. I will tell you, with what I just came up with, that means we're looking at 60 books already in queue. Okay. And another 60 that I know of behind them. And the reason for that is I enjoy writing. Okay. When you're looking at your career, yeah, and there he goes. It's a good way to help one another, group together with complementary businesses. And as Philip is pointing out, when you do that, it helps the local economy stay afloat. In case you hadn't noticed, the governments and the multi-billionaire industry moguls are not interested, or at least do not seem to be interested, in helping the local economy unless it fattens their pocketbook. Now, this is why I said I've worked out a ratio. Once I hit an income of $2,500 a month, once I hit that, between 70 and 80% of what I generate in profit will go back to the business or back to the community. Okay. And the reason for that is because, in my opinion, if you're successful, help the people around you. Don't look down on them. I gotta put it this way. Storm, in his own right, he is very successful. Now he's got a lot of hiccups in his own world. Okay. But he still finds time to help me keep the tech on my end working. And I'll tell you, that is an invaluable assistance. I can't put a price tag on it. One of the things we have to remember here is, if you desire your world to improve the world and the share your wealth. And I don't mean your money. I mean your experience with the people around you. By doing that, you will enhance the neighborhood. And I'll tell you, there is a street in Kelowna where, for the longest time, the cops, the police would not go down that street without a backup. That's how bad that street had gotten. Okay, how bad it had become. But the locals got together, and by working together, cleared the street of the real problem. Now, when we look at that, yeah, LA's just adding here, Storm takes care of a number of people's tech side of their businesses. And the fact of the matter is, from what Storm himself has told me, he enjoys it. Okay, this is why I write. This is why I'm doing this. This is my way of contributing free of cost to anybody. Okay. However, if you go to the link at the top of the stream at buymeacoffee.com/innervoicej, you can also find out how to get a hold of me. I've been doing business and personal consulting since I was 10. Okay. Professionally, as in generating an income, since I was 23. I'm now 62. So I've got a couple of days under my belt with it. And given that I've had well over 100,000 clients turning to me for some sort of insight or guidance, according to them, apparently I may have a vague idea of what I'm doing. Now I'm turning my own insight on myself. I just love why I all of a sudden see double. Yeah, LA goes, tech is Storm's lifeblood and the air he breathes. Very dedicated to it. I had a friend that was a grease monkey. And one day he got a job as a wrench in a wrecking yard. He come home and he goes, I never have to work another day in my life. When I met this guy, he had his car engine on the living room floor. And he had his bike on the dining room table, or was that vice versa? Okay. Well, I must respond to this. So we're just going to have to bear with it. Okay, and we're back. Sorry about that, guys. As I've always said, family first. Sun's down on the coast, needed a piece of information passed on. That just gets precedence. Okay, and absolutely, for all of you that have a family, I absolutely encourage you, put family first. But remember, you still got to keep a roof over your head. Otherwise, you're all in trouble. Okay, but with that in mind, when you're looking at improving your life, the more you can share the positive things with people, the better off society on the whole will be. This is why I've always held. There are so many periodicals out there where they tell you all the bad things that have gone on in the world. Okay, and that gets headlined. I don't see the point. Okay, I really don't. Unless you're trying to get people depressed. When it comes to your life and your career, share the good things in public as much as you can. Okay, now you may think that it's just nothing real spectacular. Okay, but your success can prove to be a motivator for somebody else. And I will deal with that when I get done. Let's see, what time are we here? There we are. Now, one of the biggest factors I look at in your career, if you've got a boss that is a problem child, okay, that you're always at odds with, this is clearly not going to make a good impression on your idea of a career. But do not quit said job until you have a replacement. Now, this probably sounds like common sense, okay, but sadly, way too many people are lacking in that. Thank you very much, LA. Just been warned, we're down to the 15-minute mark. Now, I am curious, how many of you have, well, I've heard from a few people in here, okay, where we know Storm is happy and heck with his work. Okay, myself, I love writing. I'd like to make more money at it, but I've got to get on track and start advertising it. I know that's a problem. Okay. And we know we've got in the way of operation here, we've got, I believe it's operation. I have pulled a complete blank, and that's not necessarily a good thing. All the way back up. There we are. Yep. Operation is a graphic designer. Okay. Again, doing something he enjoys. And of course, in Pinky's case, raising a family. I'm telling you, that's the one I really look at and go, there's a career that I can sink my heart into. Well, let's face it, I got 2 boys myself. And the nice part about that is I'm still friends with their mother. Okay? Yeah, we are not living together. That'll never happen. But we are still friends and we still work towards supporting each other. Okay? When you've got a career you're content with, you will find you spend a whole lot more time enjoying life. Or at least with the option. Now, just scrolling down here. There we go. I appreciate that, LA. You know, it really gets bad when I can just I can just forget track of what I was doing. I can write fine. Can't think worth a darn half the time. But when you've got a job that you're happy with, things will prosper. Here's the drawback. If you're trying to convince yourself you're happy, the odds are you're going to spend more money trying to make yourself believe you're happy than you ever will, than you'll ever make. Okay? This is why I say find something that you're drawn to. Don't worry about if it's mainstream. Okay, if it's not mainstream, it just means you gotta get creative. I mean, you take a look at somebody like Steve Jobs. He decided everybody required his idea of a computer. Now, I'm taking a look at that, and oddly enough, that is literally what I've started looking at where it comes to the self-help books that I'm writing. I know these will break doors open. Okay, I know they're simple, they're inexpensive, they're easy to implement. All I gotta do is market that. Okay, because it's not like I put a massive price tag on it, especially with Storm helping me go PDF with it. Okay. What we got? Philip goes, I'm here in Washington State. One time our local TV news, they told us about a murder in Boston. It was the most local murder they could find. I think that's good news. Yeah, oddly enough, when the closest murder you can find is on the other side of the country, this is not a bad sign for your neighborhood. Okay. And I mean, these things do have to get reported. I do agree with that. But they don't require front page. Okay. Because most people looking for attention, they'll do whatever they can. And shock value works on it for a lot of people. I'm not going that route. And this is why, when I decided to put together the magazine Positive Perspectives, I swore I was not putting the bad news in there. Okay? I did acquiesce, and there is a bad news section. It says, and I'm paraphrasing, bad news happens around the world. Go look at any other periodical or written or newscast that you choose. You can find the bad news. You're not getting it here. Okay. I'm just not interested in spreading that. Okay. But positive things happening, absolutely. Come to think of it, I need this. Here we are. Just making a note of the company I went to today. I've got to get word out. This is why I've got this, to make real short notes. This is why I say a list helps keep things organized. Now, somebody wrote something here. Well, here's the neat part. Oh, there we go. LA goes, I've been passing up news that seems sensational. I figure it's just clickbait. Now, I've gotta ask a really, really stupid question, potentially. I'm presuming clickbait simply means it causes people on the internet to click on that site and go and look at it. That kind of an idea. Like I said, I'm a dinosaur. When I was going to school, the most common computer happened to be a, what the heck did they call it now? Punch card reader. Okay, that was where I started learning technology. Now, when we take a look at things, the big thing about looking at your local area, okay, the more you can support your local area, you want your economy to change, keep the money moving in the local areas. Well, thanks for the clarification, LA. It's pretty sad. I've been playing with computers since 1979, and I still don't get them. Hence why I do most of my writing by hand. See, the neat part about all of this is this. News can do what it wants. However, it's like a war. If nobody turns on the news, they quit reporting it that way. If nobody picks up a gun, nobody gets shot. Or very few do anyway. But, much as that, LA goes, paranoia, just another word for longevity. Now, I don't know if you guys remember this. There was a game way back before D&D came online called Paranoia. Okay, and I'm telling you, I love the guideline that my brother gave me when I got my license. Okay, now my brother was phenomenal in that respect, but he goes, look, if you're a new driver out there, he goes, remember every single one of those people out there. He says, remember all the rules of the road, but remember every single one of those people, all the way from the pedestrians to the rig runners, every one of them is an idiot. I looked at him and I said, well, that's easy to remember. He goes, but the second rule, remember that every single one of those idiots is going to try to kill you. Okay. Now, if you keep those two things in mind, you will be hyper-focused on survival. Kind of an idea if you're driving a 2,000-pound weapon. The one thing we got to remember here, whatever career you're doing, where are we here? Storm goes, the computer is your friend. Obey the computer or will necessitate activating your next clone. Yeah, I always go with the other one. The computer is your friend. Dave, what are you doing, Dave? That's the one that always got my attention. One of the things we have to remember, whatever you're doing with your life, whatever your career is, how you're making a living, make sure you are contributing to the community you're in. Okay? Yes, the news may have all sorts of bad things in it. Okay? The politicians may spew all kinds of garbage at you. Somewhere in there, you'll find a gem. Okay? But the fact of the matter is, you get to choose whether you're going to act on what you're hearing and or seeing, or whether you don't. And by the way, blaming other people won't make the reality any different. I think that's a fantastic idea there, LA. Of course, we also have to remember, just to put this out there, LA put an article into Positive Perspectives itself. Okay. And yes, I will put people's articles in, providing they are of a positive nature. I am not about to start posting or printing stuff that says, "Oh, such and such a politician lied about this, and these moguls are causing this problem." Not interested. There's all kinds of places that can get posted. Okay, and yeah, Philip, absolutely. I don't print books in the magazine, but I also don't rely on like a 3-paragraph article. Okay. However, that said, my company, Inner Voice Enterprises, is designed to handle publishing other people's books. But I've just noticed our time here, especially since I'm looking at LA's post. 5 minutes. Okay, tomorrow is, what is tomorrow? Tomorrow is, tomorrow is Wednesday. So, on Friday, we are going to be taking an enhanced look at chakras. Okay, the energy conduits in the body, and for that matter, in the home and business. Okay, I do hope to see you then, 9 o'clock Friday night. Okay, but we are coming to a close here, so I just want to take a moment out and say thank you so very much for sharing your time with us tonight. Really appreciate it. Look forward to talking to you again. In the meantime, do take care of yourselves and each other, and for pity's sakes, stay positive.